Welcome back to Streamline Entertainment. It is Marvin speaking. I'm just going to do a bit of a reaction video to Hayley comment talking about the Jay Slater case. Let's get straight into it. This was on the 18th, so it was a couple of days ago.
It's with Tom Hilton, who's in the Elegy. That's the third friend of Tom Hilton's that was stood around Jay at different points in the I have died crossing with Tom Hilton's dad. There's lots of connections. Another friend of Tom Hilton and Jay. Hang on, there is Tom Hilton. And there is Niall. Everyone is so connected. So, Tom Hilton says that he wasn't in Tenerife because he was in a different part of Spain on holiday. So we have at this point at least 5 friends of Tom Hilton's who were seen. I also, can someone pin me this king, please? Ali, you might as well pin him. You've been trying to for a while. There is, I wonder, Tom Hilton's father passed away after an illness, really ill. It was Tom Hilton's greatest loss. And I understand that the loss of a father, put me on my ass. Part of me died that day, I get it. And Tom Hilton's younger than me, he's a male. Every boy is most connected probably to their father. They're the person in the world most like you. Girls' mums. I wonder if Tom Hilton's father's dying wish was that somebody would pay for what happened to his son. His best friend who's connected to Brad's father, through military, who's connected to Tom Hilton's father from the same area. I wonder if things were put in place to make sure that people paid the price. We also know that several other people involved in the attack of Tom Hilton have passed away or had accidents since. And I just wonder, it has been mentioned, Mel, it's something we talked about right back in the day one. And I believe if the connection is LT, the person who could probably make all of that happen. I don't like to mention his name, but eventually all these people have to be identified and kind of placed together. I think that's the important part of probably the case, is that at some point we have to understand that there are people in the club. And to me, as Jay Slater told him to make that last message before his phone was taken from him saying, "I've been marked," this is Jay Slater looking up and thinking, Tom. I remember in the voice note in the club, you hear Brad saying, "It's Tom." You hear them recognising, like, Tom's here. And then you see Stabber, the ginger boy, Tom Hilton's actual best friend. And at that point, you send a message saying, "I'm fucking marked." If I attacked someone horrifically with weapons, and there was a time in, I think it had been Blackpool, 3 weeks before Jay went on holiday to Tenerife, and I dare anyone to call me a liar, because I play voice notes. Jay Slater was arrested and taken to Blackpool police station for a fight with Tom Hilton in a shop. They had been eyeing each other up in a shop. It spilled out outside the shop in Blackpool, and there was a fight. Both were arrested. And I wonder if that wasn't the moment where it's like, this ain't gonna fucking stop. And Warren was the one who went to pick him up from the police station. I know that for a fact. And I dare people to say I'm lying. I dare them to say I'm lying. It was shortly around this time as well that Debbie's windows were put through for the first time. And they've been put through once before. Once since Jay died. So that tells me something.
Look, my viewpoint on this, there were definitely altercations, more than probably 4 or 5, between Tom Hilton and also the ribbing by Jay in what happened to him, even though Jay was there. and was just basically goading Tom and egging the rest of them on at the end of the day, even though he wasn't actually a part of using a weapon on the assault. He was still there basically aiding the betting by being there and egging the rest on. But the problem is, I did get a lot of private messages to say that, from people from the Lancashire area, that there was a lot of beef between Tom's gang and Jay and his friends as well. There was definitely some altercation. I do think that people like LK and Lucy were basically responsible for basically getting Jay out there and his demise. I really, really do think that at the end of the day, because there's no way that basically I think Tom would even attempt anything in the UK with so many cameras and so many people talking. Whereas in Tenerife, they know that they can 100% get away with it at the end of the day. I do think it was a massive coincidence that Tom would come out and say, "Oh, stop talking about Jay Slater," and put out like some weird pictures. I do think there were a lot of people who knew Tom's dad, and I think he had some serious connections through AOP, through LK, and many others as well. And like I said, I did get a messenger come out and from that area who actually sent me pictures and names, and they said that at least 7-8 of them were Tom Hilton's friends, which was quite odd. And yet, like I said, he wasn't out there. That never actually made sense to me. And this is why I think boats were used. And that's why when the Maruba was mentioned, or the two Marubas were mentioned, all hell broke loose. Because, like I said, we shouldn't have been talking about it or mentioning boats for some reason, because I believe it was to ferry people around as well, from island to island and from place to place. That can easily be done if you've got the right connections. Let me know what you think, people, because like I said, a lot of people do think it was a massive part of Lucy getting Jay out there for a revenge attack by Tom Hilton. But like I said, maybe he didn't have to get his hands dirty, because everything else was done for him, knowing that Jay was going to be set up, rubbed and set up out there. And all he had to do was just sit back and watch, which is absolutely sick. Don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Entertainment and let me know what your thoughts on that is. But like I said, 100%, I've got quite a few messages in the early days to say basically there was a lot of beef between Jay and Tom Hilton. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts on it, people. Do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Subscribe and like the video. Appreciate you. Thank you. Bye.